What we are attached to determines our contentment. This month, we're going to look at a series called Attached. Every one of us is attached to something, right? Some person, some thing, some experience. And the trouble with attachments is that sometimes they let us down. For the next 3 weeks, we'll be exploring the attachments that become part of our identity and uncovering the truth about our identity in Christ. So have you ever woke up in the morning and thought, I'm going to have a good day? Either because you slept really well, maybe you had a really good dream, then you step out of bed and you roll your ankle or you hurt your wrist somehow, and then you go and make breakfast and that's the worst breakfast you've ever made. You're going to be late to school or work, or you get into an argument with a parent, a grandparent, or a sibling, and right away your mood changes and everything starts going downhill. Even when you thought that it was going to be the best day ever because you had such a good sleep. Or maybe it's the opposite. Maybe you had a bad sleep and you had a bad dream, but you look at that text when you wake up from the other day that just encourages you and reminds you of the good relationships in your life, or that relationship that you have with God, or just things that God is doing in your life, and your mood instantly changes. Happiness, sadness, contentment, anger, frustration, annoyance. How many of those do you experience in a day? Or rather, how many of those do you experience in a matter of a moment or an instant? It's crazy how one word, one action, or one circumstance can change your mood so quickly, right? Maybe it's that phone call from that job that you applied for. They said you just don't have the experience. And come back next year when you have more experience, maybe you'll get the job then. Same thing with college. Maybe you don't have that letter that you wanted that says you're accepted into the college. These things that make us depressed, or even things that make us happy. Life may be really hard right now, or really good, or maybe it's in between. What is the one thing that would change everything for you? What is the one thing that would change the trajectory of your day? Or maybe that moment, in that second, what would change? What is that one thing that you can say, if that happens to me in life, if that happens to me today, if I get that one phone call, it'll change everything. It'll make me so much more happy. But what if you could remain consistent in every situation that would bring you down for the whole day? What if you can remain consistent? What if your mood can be consistent? Something that you can say, I'm okay with whatever. Not like you like everything that happens to you, but rather instead you had a peace about it. A contentment that no matter what went on in life, it was going to be okay. You see, people are like yo-yos. We go up and down, up and down. And you know why? If you follow the string, it's because we're attached. We're attached to something. Have you ever met anyone that collects things that they just can't get rid of? Or maybe it's baseball cards or Pokemon cards, or it's cleaning supplies. I heard that once. I mean, if you like that, that's cool. Or if it's cars or pens, whatever it may be, they just can't get rid of that stuff, right? Because they're attached to it. Maybe for you it's different. Maybe it's that certain someone that you text 100 times an hour, or you're aware of when someone specifically posts an Instagram post or on Facebook because you're attached to that person or their thoughts or their opinions, or just know what they're gonna do in life. Or your college application is life or death. What if instead of clinging to people, accomplishments, or stuff, we attach ourselves to something more stable? We would still feel the highs and lows, yes, but it wouldn't crush our world if we didn't get the girl or make the team or get picked for the play, for the lead in the play, whatever it is. Because getting an A is great until the next test, or making the team makes you happy until you find out, I don't really like the sport anymore, and they don't start you. Or that boyfriend or girlfriend is exciting, but the relationship can end. what happens when we place our happiness in things that can fall apart? We lose, and we lose big time. See, the Bible calls these things that we are attached to idols. So I'm going to read to you in Isaiah chapter 44, 15 to 20. So it talks about a man who cuts down cedar, a tree, and makes a wood out of it. Even, trees are made out of wood, but makes wood out of this tree and says, then it becomes a fuel for man. How? It says he takes part of it and warms himself. He kindles a fire and he bakes bread. Also, he makes a god and worships it. He makes it an idol and falls down before it. Half of it he burns in the fire. Over the half he eats meat. He roasts it and is satisfied. Also, he warms himself and says, aha, I am warm. I have seen the fire, and the rest of it he makes into a god, his idol, and falls down to it and worships it. He prays to it and says, deliver me, for you are my God. And they do not know, nor do they discern, for he has shut their eyes, so that they cannot see, and their hearts, so that they cannot understand. No one considers, nor is there knowledge or discernment to say, half of it I burned in the fire. I also baked bread on its coals. I roasted meat and have eaten, and shall I make the rest of it an abomination? Shall I fall down before a block of wood? He feeds on ashes. A deluded heart has led him astray, and he cannot deliver himself or say, is there not a lie in my right hand? See, a guy gets way too attached to a block of wood. It's basically is what it's saying. It's like building a house with your hands and then worshiping the house because you built it. Or working out every day and then worshiping what that looks like in the mirror, the progress that you're making. Or maybe you got an A and you keep getting good grades and you believe that you deserve a scholarship. See, we're not too far off from this man worshiping a block of wood. When we let those things define us, we have made our own little wooden gods. We live in a world where everyone ties and attaches themselves to circumstances, to their circumstances. And as life goes on, so goes our happiness. Our circumstances change, which means our moods change, our happiness changes. What if we can get off the roller coaster of life? You see, God says, I'm contentment. I will satisfy you. I'll satisfy your needs. What are you attaching yourself to? And what if that attachment is a lie? Attaching to Christ doesn't mean you'll ever hurt again or you'll ever be disappointed. Rather, no matter how hard it may be, there's hope. That's what God does. Imagine living a life attached to the one who really does matter, who is consistent, and who brings contentment.